Welcome back. I'm Sage, and this is Easy English with Sage.
Oh, wow. Today is going to be special. Really special. Okay. So imagine this. You've been learning English for a while now. Maybe months. Maybe even years. And you can understand conversations. You can read books. You can watch movies without too many subtitles, right? But here's the thing. When it comes to speaking, when someone asks you a question in a professional meeting, or even just a casual chat at a coffee shop, you freeze. Let me think. Why does this happen? It's because understanding English and actually speaking English at an advanced level, those are two completely different skills. Oh, that's interesting, isn't it? And today, we're going to change that. Today, we're going to boost your English from intermediate to advanced level, from B2 all the way to C1 and C2. Wow, that's nice. And we're going to do it together, step by step, through daily speaking practice that feels natural, fun, and totally doable. Before we dive into this beautiful journey, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do it now. Hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell notification because every single day I'm here uploading new lessons to help you stay motivated and keep improving. Your support means the world to me, and honestly, it keeps me going. All right, are you ready? Let's do this. You know what separates an intermediate speaker from an advanced speaker? It's not just about knowing more words or memorizing grammar rules. No. It's about how you express yourself, how you choose the exact right word for the exact right moment, how your sentences flow like a river instead of sounding like a list of disconnected ideas. At the intermediate level, you might say something like, "I'm very tired today." And that's perfectly fine. But at the advanced level, at C1 or C2, you would say, "I'm absolutely exhausted after such a demanding day." Or maybe, "I feel completely drained after handling so many challenging tasks today." Do you hear the difference? It's not just vocabulary. It's precision. It's color. It's life. Let me share something with you. When I first started learning languages myself, I remember feeling stuck at that intermediate plateau. I could understand almost everything, but when I opened my mouth to speak, the words just wouldn't come out the way I wanted them to. I would translate in my head first. And by the time I finished translating, the conversation had already moved on. Maybe you felt this too. Maybe you've been in a situation where you wanted to sound confident, professional, articulate, but instead, you ended up using simple words, basic structures, and you walked away thinking, "I could have said that so much better." Well, my friend, that ends today because we're going to practice together. And I'm going to show you exactly how to upgrade your English step by step. Let's start with something simple but powerful. Instead of saying very all the time, let's learn to use stronger, more precise adjectives. This is one of the fastest ways to sound more advanced. For example, instead of saying very good, you could say excellent, outstanding, remarkable, or exceptional. Instead of very bad, try terrible, dreadful, awful, or appalling. Instead of very tired, say exhausted, drained, or worn out. These are difficult words, but when you use them naturally, you instantly sound more fluent, more confident, more advanced. Let's practice together. Say it with me. I'm exhausted. Again, I'm completely exhausted. Good. Now try this one. The presentation was outstanding. Repeat after me. The presentation was absolutely outstanding. Excellent. One more. The weather today is dreadful. Say it with me. The weather today is absolutely dreadful. Beautiful. Can you feel the difference? When you use these stronger words, your English comes alive. It paints pictures. It creates emotions. And that's what advanced speakers do. Now, here's a little challenge for you. Think about your day today or yesterday. Instead of saying, my day was busy, try saying, my day was incredibly demanding, filled with non-stop activities. Or maybe, today was overwhelming, with back-to-back responsibilities that left me little time to rest. Pause for a second and try saying one of these sentences out loud. Go ahead. Don't be shy. This is your practice space. Nobody's judging you here. In fact, I'm cheering you on. If you're still with me, type yes in the comments. I want to know you're practicing along. Because here's the truth. You can watch 1,000 English lessons, but if you don't open your mouth and actually practice, you won't improve. Fluency comes from repetition, from speaking, from making mistakes and learning from them. So please practice with me. Speak out loud, even if you're alone in your room, even if you feel silly. Speak. That's how you build confidence. That's how you move from intermediate to advanced. All right, let's move to connectors. Oh, connectors are so important. At the intermediate level, most learners rely on simple connectors like and, but, and because. And yes, those are correct, but they're basic. At the advanced level, you just build confidence. You need to use connectors that make your speech flow smoothly, that show logical connections between your ideas, that make you sound educated and articulate. Connectors like although, nevertheless, moreover, consequently, on the other hand, in addition, as a result, in contrast. These words are like bridges that carry your listener smoothly from one idea to the next. Let me give you an example. Instead of saying, I wanted to go out, but it was raining, you could say, although I wanted to go out, the heavy rain kept me indoors. Or, I wanted to go out. Nevertheless, the weather forced me to stay inside. Do you hear how much more sophisticated that sounds? Let's practice. Repeat after me. Although I was tired, I finished the project on time. Good. Now try this. I studied hard. Consequently, I passed with excellent marks. Excellent. One more. I wanted to stay at home. On the other hand, my friends convinced me to go out. Perfect. These connectors don't just make you sound advanced. They actually help you think more clearly in English. When you use nevertheless, consequently, or on the other hand, you're showing that you can balance ideas, that you can present different perspectives, that you understand nuance. And nuance, my friend, is the hallmark of advanced fluency. Now I want to talk to you about something really important: fear. So many learners, especially those from places where English isn't the first language, carry this fear inside them. The fear of making mistakes, the fear of sounding stupid, the fear of being judged. Maybe you felt this. Maybe you understand English perfectly when you're listening, but when it's your turn to speak, your mind goes blank. You freeze. Your heart starts racing. You translate in your head before speaking. And by the time you've figured out what to say, the moment has passed. Listen to me. This is completely normal. Every single advanced English speaker you admire today went through this exact same struggle. The difference is they didn't let fear stop them. They kept practicing. They kept speaking. They made mistakes, lots of mistakes, and they learned from every single one. So today, I want you to make a promise to yourself. Promise that you will practice without fear. Promise that you will speak out loud, even if it's just to yourself. Promise that you will embrace mistakes as part of the journey. Because every mistake you make is actually progress. It's proof that you're trying, that you're growing, that you're moving forward. Tell me in the comments, have you ever felt nervous or scared when speaking English? I'd love to hear your story. And remember, you're not alone in this. We're all learning together. Let's do a quick practice exercise. Imagine you're at work or at school and someone asks you, "How was your weekend?" At the intermediate level, you might say, "My weekend was good. I stayed home." That's fine, but it's basic. At the advanced level, you could say, "My weekend was absolutely wonderful. I spent a quiet afternoon at home, catching up on some reading and enjoying the peaceful atmosphere." Or maybe, "I had a relaxing weekend. I stayed in, watched a few movies, and recharged my energy for the week ahead." Do you hear the difference? The advanced version gives details. It uses richer vocabulary. It creates a picture. Let's practice together. Repeat after me. I had a relaxing weekend. Again. I spent a quiet afternoon at home, catching up on some reading. Good. Now try this. I recharged my energy for the week ahead. Beautiful. This is exactly how you should practice. Take simple sentences from your daily life and upgrade them. Push yourself to use stronger adjectives, advanced connectors, descriptive details. That's how you grow from B2 to C1, from C1 to C2. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for daily practice. It helps you stay motivated. And honestly, it helps me too. All right, quick break. Did you subscribe yet? I'm watching you. Just kidding. But seriously, if you haven't, please do it now. It takes 2 seconds and it makes a huge difference. Now, let's talk about idioms. Oh, idioms are beautiful. They're expressions that native speakers use all the time. And when you use them naturally, you sound incredibly fluent. For example, instead of saying, "I'm very nervous," you could say, "I have butterflies in my stomach." Instead of "it was easy," try "it was a piece of cake." Instead of "stop wasting time," say "stop beating around the bush." These expressions add color, personality, and authenticity to your English. Let's practice some idioms together. Repeat after me. I have butterflies in my stomach. Good. Now try this. It was a piece of cake. Excellent. One more. Stop beating around the bush. Perfect. Now, imagine you're talking to a friend before an important exam. You could say, "I have butterflies in my stomach about tomorrow's test." Doesn't that sound natural? Doesn't it sound like something a native speaker would say? That's because it is. Here's another set of idioms for you. Instead of "I'm very busy," say "I have a lot on my plate." Instead of "it's raining heavily," try "it's raining cats and dogs." Instead of "that's exactly what I wanted," say "that's exactly what the doctor ordered." These expressions might seem strange at first, especially if you translate them literally. But that's the beauty of idioms. They don't follow logic. They follow culture. And when you learn them, you're not just learning English. You're learning how English speakers think, how they communicate, how they see the world. Practice time. Repeat after me. I have a lot on my plate this week. Good. Now try. It's raining cats and dogs outside. Excellent. One more. That vacation was exactly what the doctor ordered. Beautiful. The more you practice these idioms, the more natural they'll become. And soon, you'll be using them without even thinking about it. Which sentence was your favorite so far? Tell me in the comments. I love hearing from you, and it helps me understand what kind of content you enjoy most. Now, let's move to something that will truly elevate your English: agreeing and disagreeing at an advanced level. At the intermediate level, when someone says something, you might simply respond with, "I agree," or "I don't agree." And while that's grammatically correct, it's very basic. At the advanced level, you need to expand your range. For example, instead of "I agree," try "I couldn't agree more." That's absolutely true. I see your point and I share the same opinion. Or, you've hit the nail on the head. Instead of "I don't agree," you could say, "I'm afraid I can't share that view. That's not quite how I see it. I beg to differ." Or, "I have a slightly different perspective on this." Let's practice agreeing first. Repeat after me. I couldn't agree more. Good. Now try. That's absolutely true. Excellent. One more. You've hit the nail on the head. Perfect. Now, let's practice disagreeing politely. Repeat after me. I'm afraid I can't share that view. Good. Now try. That's not quite how I see it. Excellent. One more. I beg to differ. Beautiful. These phrases are incredibly useful in professional settings, in academic discussions, in debates, or even in casual conversations with friends. They show that you can express your opinion clearly, confidently, and respectfully. And that's what advanced communication is all about. Imagine you're in a meeting and a colleague suggests an idea that you don't quite agree with. Instead of saying, "No, that's wrong," you could say, "I see where you're coming from, but I have a slightly different perspective on this. Perhaps we could consider another approach." Do you see how much more professional and respectful that sounds? That's the power of advanced English. Let's do another practice round. Imagine someone says, "I think learning English is all about memorizing grammar rules," and you disagree. You could respond, "I understand your point, but I would argue that fluency comes from practice and immersion rather than just memorization." Repeat after me. I understand your point, but I would argue that fluency comes from practice and immersion. Excellent! This is exactly the kind of language that will make you stand out in any conversation. All right, quick check. If you're still practicing with me, type "practicing" in the comments. I want to see who's committed to this journey. Remember, consistency is everything. You can't become fluent by practicing once a week. You need to practice every single day, even if it's just for 10 or 15 minutes. Small daily steps lead to massive long-term results. Now, let's talk about storytelling. This is where the magic happens. At the intermediate level, many learners tell stories using short, simple sentences. I went to the park. I met my friend. We talked. We went home. While this is correct, it's not engaging. It doesn't draw the listener in. At the advanced level, you need to add details, use descriptive language, create atmosphere. For example, yesterday afternoon, I decided to take a walk in the park. As I strolled along the tree-lined paths, I happened to bump into an old friend I hadn't seen in months. We ended up sitting on a bench, talking for over an hour, sharing stories, and catching up on each other's lives. By the time we said goodbye, the sun was setting, painting the sky in beautiful shades of orange and pink. Do you hear the difference? The advanced version creates a scene. It makes the listener feel like they're there with you. It's vivid, it's detailed, it's alive. Let's practice this together. Repeat after me slowly. Yesterday afternoon, I decided to take a walk in the park. Good. Now continue. As I strolled along the tree-lined paths, I happened to bump into an old friend. Excellent. Keep going. We ended up sitting on a bench, talking for over an hour, sharing stories and catching up on each other's lives. Beautiful. One more sentence. By the time we said goodbye, the sun was setting, painting the sky in beautiful shades of orange and pink. Perfect. This is how you practice storytelling at an advanced level. You don't rush through the facts. You slow down. You add color. You describe what you saw, what you felt, what you experienced. And the more you practice this, the more natural it becomes. Here's your challenge. Think about something you did recently, maybe yesterday or last week. It could be anything: cooking dinner, meeting a friend, watching a movie, going shopping. Now, tell that story using advanced vocabulary and descriptive details. Don't just say what happened. Paint a picture. Create an experience. Take your time, speak slowly, and enjoy the process. Now let's talk about transitions. Transitions are words and phrases that help organize your thoughts and guide your listener through your ideas. At the intermediate level, you might use first, then, and finally. Those are fine, but they're basic. At the advanced level, you need to expand your toolkit. Try using phrases like to begin with, in addition, as a result, in contrast, on the whole, having said that, moreover, furthermore, nevertheless. Let me show you how these work in context. Instead of saying, I woke up, I ate breakfast, I went to work, you could say, to begin with, I woke up early to prepare for the day. In addition, I had a healthy breakfast which gave me energy. As a result, I felt productive and ready to face the tasks at work. Do you hear how the transitions create flow? They connect the ideas smoothly, making your speech sound organized and professional. Let's practice. Repeat after me. To begin with, I woke up early to prepare for the day. Good. Now continue. In addition, I had a healthy breakfast which gave me energy. Excellent. One more. As a result, I felt productive and ready to face the tasks at work. Perfect. This is exactly the kind of language that will take your English from intermediate to advanced. Here's a practice exercise. Describe your morning routine using at least 3 transitions. For example, to begin with, I always set my alarm for 6 in the morning. Furthermore, I spend the first 15 minutes meditating to clear my mind. As a result, I start my day feeling calm and focused. Try creating your own version. Speak it out loud. Practice until it feels natural. If you're enjoying this lesson, don't forget to like this video and share it with your friends who are also learning English. Your support helps this channel grow and allows me to create more content for you. Now, let's dive into something incredibly important: expressing emotions with subtlety and precision. At the intermediate level, you might simply say, I like it or I don't like it. But at the advanced level, you need to show shades of feeling. Instead of I like it, try I find it fascinating. I really appreciate it. I'm genuinely impressed, or it resonates with me deeply. Instead of I don't like it, you could say it doesn't really appeal to me. I'm not particularly fond of it. It's not quite my cup of tea. Or I find it rather unappealing. These expressions add nuance to your communication. They show that you can express complex emotions, that you understand subtlety, that you can adjust your language depending on the situation. Let's practice. Repeat after me. I find it fascinating. Good. Now try. I really appreciate it. Excellent. One more. It doesn't really appeal to me. Perfect. Now try. I'm not particularly fond of it. Beautiful. Imagine you're at a restaurant and someone asks you how you liked the food. Instead of just saying it was good, you could say, I found the flavors absolutely delightful. Every bite was a pleasant surprise. Or if you didn't enjoy it, instead of saying it was bad, you could say, unfortunately, it didn't quite meet my expectations. The flavors were a bit bland for my taste. Do you see how much more sophisticated that sounds? Let's do a real-life exercise. Think about a movie or a book you experienced recently. Instead of saying I liked it or I didn't like it, describe your feelings using advanced expressions. For example, I was genuinely impressed by the depth of the characters. The story resonated with me on an emotional level. Or, I'm afraid it didn't really appeal to me. The pacing was too slow, and I found it rather difficult to stay engaged. Practice this out loud. Push yourself to use richer vocabulary. Tell me in the comments, what's a movie or book you recently enjoyed? I'd love to hear your recommendations. Now, let's talk about emphasis. At the intermediate level, learners often rely on very or really to emphasize their point. Very hungry, really cold, very big. They're correct. They're not as powerful as they could be. At the advanced level, you can use more precise and impactful words. Instead of very hungry, say starving. Instead of really cold, try freezing. Instead of very big, use enormous, gigantic, or massive. Instead of very happy, say delighted, thrilled, ecstatic, or overjoyed. Let's practice these. Repeat after me. I'm starving. Good. Now try. It's freezing outside. Excellent. One more. The house was enormous. Perfect. Now, let's try emotions. I was delighted to see her. Good. Now, try. She was thrilled when she heard the good news. Excellent. One more. They were absolutely ecstatic about the results. Beautiful. Here's a practice exercise. Think about different situations in your life and describe them using stronger emphasis. Instead of I'm very tired, say I'm completely exhausted. Instead of the movie was very good, say the movie was phenomenal. Instead of the restaurant was very bad, say the restaurant was dreadful. Practice replacing very and really with more powerful alternatives. This small change will make a huge difference in how you sound. All right, I want to pause for a moment and remind you of something important. Learning English at an advanced level isn't about perfection. It's about progress. It's about taking what you already know and expanding it, enriching it, making it more colorful and expressive. Every time you choose a stronger word, every time you use an advanced connector, every time you tell a story with vivid details, you're moving closer to fluency. And fluency isn't a destination, it's a journey. So be patient with yourself, celebrate your small victories, and keep practicing every single day. Now, let's move to collocations. Collocations are words that naturally go together in English. Native speakers use these combinations automatically, and when you learn them, your English sounds much more natural. For example, we say make a decision, not do a decision. We say strong coffee, not powerful coffee. We say heavy rain, not big rain. We say catch a bus, not take a bus in most contexts. These are collocations, and they're incredibly important for sounding fluent. Let me give you some common examples. Make progress, break the news, keep a promise. Pay attention, run a business, take responsibility. Do your best, tell the truth. These combinations are fixed in English. You can't change them without sounding strange. So the best way to learn them is through practice and repetition. Let's practice together. Repeat after me. I'm making progress in my English. Good. Now try. She kept her promise and called me. Excellent. One more. Please pay attention during the meeting. Perfect. Now let's build a short story using collocations. Repeat after me slowly. Yesterday, I made a decision to start a small business. Good. Continue. In the morning, I caught a bus into town to buy supplies. Excellent. Keep going. On the way, my friend called to break the news that she was moving abroad. Good. Continue. I promised to keep in touch, and I paid attention to her every word. Perfect. One more sentence. By the end of the day, I felt that I had made real progress. Beautiful. This story is filled with natural collocations, and when you practice like this, you train your brain to use these combinations automatically. The more you practice, the more natural they become. So here's your challenge. Write a short paragraph about your day using at least 5 collocations. Practice it out loud until it flows smoothly. Which collocation did you find most useful? Let me know in the comments. Now, let's talk about hedging language. Hedging is when you soften your statements to sound more polite, professional, or cautious. Instead of saying, "This is wrong," you might say, "I'm not sure that's entirely correct." Instead of "You're late," you could say, "It seems you've arrived a bit later than expected." This type of language is extremely common in professional settings, academic discussions, and even friendly conversations because it sounds respectful and balanced. Let's practice some hedging phrases. Repeat after me. I'm not entirely sure. Good. Now try. It seems that. Excellent. One more. It appears to be. Perfect. Now try. From my perspective. Good. One more. As far as I can tell. Excellent. These phrases allow you to express opinions without sounding too direct or too blunt. They show that you're thoughtful, considerate, and aware of different perspectives. Imagine you're in a business meeting and someone presents an idea you're not convinced about. Instead of saying, "That won't work," you could say, "From my perspective, there might be some challenges with that approach. Perhaps we could explore some alternatives." Do you see how much more professional that sounds? Let's practice together. Repeat after me. I'm not entirely certain, but it appears that we might need more time. Good. Now try. As far as I can tell, the results seem promising, though we should verify the data. Excellent. One more. It seems that this strategy could work, provided we address the potential obstacles. Perfect. This kind of language is especially useful in professional or international settings where politeness and diplomacy are highly valued. Practice using hedging language in your daily conversations, and you'll notice how much more sophisticated your English becomes. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. We upload new lessons every day to help you improve faster. Now, let's explore modal verbs for speculation and deduction. Modal verbs like must, might, could, and can't allow you to express different levels of certainty. For example, he must be tired means you're almost certain. He might be tired means it's possible. He can't be tired means you think it's impossible. These subtle differences add flexibility and nuance to your English. Let's practice this in real-life contexts. Repeat after me. She must be at work. The lights are on. Good. Now try. He might be busy. He hasn't answered his phone. Excellent. One more. That can't be true. I saw it with my own eyes. Perfect. Now let's create our own examples. Imagine you see someone yawning repeatedly. You might say, she must be exhausted. She's been working all night. Or imagine a friend hasn't replied to your messages. You could say, he might be traveling. He mentioned something about a trip. Or imagine someone tells you something unbelievable. You might respond, that can't be right. I was there myself and I saw something completely different. By practicing modal verbs this way, you train yourself to express levels of certainty, possibility, and impossibility. This is a key skill for C1 and C2 English. Now, let's practice discourse markers. These are phrases we use to organize our ideas and make our speech sound smooth and natural. For example, frankly speaking, between you and me, if I'm honest, to be fair, in my opinion, as a matter of fact. These phrases add personality and flow to your speech, and they're a strong signal of advanced fluency. Let's try some together. Repeat after me. Frankly speaking, I don't think that's the best idea. Good. Now try. Between you and me, I was a little nervous before the meeting. Excellent. One more. To be fair, the movie wasn't as bad as people said. Perfect. These little touches add character to your English. They make you sound confident, natural, and authentic. Imagine you're having a conversation with a colleague, and they ask your opinion about a new project. You could say, frankly speaking, I think we need more time to prepare properly. As a matter of fact, rushing into this could create more problems than it solves. Do you hear how natural and fluent that sounds? Let me share a longer practice with you now. This will combine everything we've learned so far: strong vocabulary, connectors, collocations, hedging language, and discourse markers. Listen first, then repeat after me slowly. Frankly speaking, last week was absolutely exhausting. I was completely overwhelmed with work. Meetings scheduled back to back from morning until evening. Nevertheless, I managed to make significant progress and complete all my tasks on time. It seems that my colleagues genuinely appreciated my efforts, and I couldn't agree more that teamwork made all the difference. On the whole, it was an incredibly challenging week, but I feel deeply satisfied with what we achieved together. Looking back, I realize that persistence and clear communication were the keys to our success. Excellent work. Did you notice how all those elements came together? The strong adjectives like exhausting, overwhelming, the connectors like nevertheless and on the whole, the collocations like make progress, the hedging with it seems that, and the discourse markers like frankly speaking and looking back. This is exactly what advanced English sounds like. Now it's your turn. Think about your own week. What happened? What challenges did you face? What did you achieve? Tell your story using advanced vocabulary, connectors, and discourse markers. Take your time. Speak slowly and clearly. And don't worry about making mistakes. Every mistake is a learning opportunity. Tell me in the comments, what was the most challenging part of your week? I'd love to hear your stories. Let's move to another powerful skill, rephrasing. Rephrasing means saying the same idea in different ways depending on the context. This shows flexibility in communication. For example, if someone asks, "Do you understand?" at a basic level, you might simply say, "Yes, I understand." But at C1 or C2, you could say, "Yes, I follow your point," or "Yes, I get what you mean," or "Yes, that makes perfect sense to me." Each option expresses agreement, but each has a slightly different tone: formal, casual, or neutral. Let's practice together. Repeat after me. I follow your point. Good. Now try. I get what you mean. Excellent. One more. That makes perfect sense to me. Beautiful. Now imagine different situations. A teacher is explaining a complex concept. You might say formally, "Yes, I follow your reasoning." A friend is telling you about their weekend plans. You might say casually, "Yeah, I get what you mean." A colleague is presenting data in a meeting. You might say professionally, "That makes perfect sense to me. Thank you for clarifying." This flexibility is what makes you sound like an advanced speaker. You're not stuck using the same phrase over and over. You can adapt your language to fit the situation, the person you're talking to, and the level of formality required. Another dimension of C1 and C2 fluency is sophistication in expressing opinions. At lower levels, learners often say, "I think," again and again. But at advanced levels, you can expand this with phrases like, "in my view," "from my perspective," "as far as I'm concerned," "if you ask me," "the way I see it," "in my estimation," "to my mind." Let's practice these alternatives. Repeat after me. In my view, this approach is more effective. Good. Now try. From my perspective, we should try something different. Excellent. One more. As far as I'm concerned, learning English daily is the best strategy. Perfect. Now try. If you ask me, the book was better than the movie. Good. One more. The way I see it, practice leads to progress. Beautiful. You now have multiple ways to express your opinion without always falling back on I think. This variety makes your English richer and more engaging. Practice using different opinion phrases throughout your day. When you're talking to yourself, when you're practicing English, consciously choose a different phrase each time. Now let's focus on advanced time expressions. Instead of only saying yesterday or last week, you can use phrases like the other day, in the meantime, at the end of the day, in the long run, sooner or later, from now on, eventually, ultimately. Let's practice. Repeat after me. I met her the other day. Good. Now try. In the meantime, I'll keep working on this project. Excellent. One more. At the end of the day, we all want to be happy. Perfect. Now try. In the long run, practice always pays off. Good. One more. Sooner or later, your hard work will show results. Beautiful. These expressions are extremely common among native speakers and give your speech a more authentic rhythm. Try to use one of these expressions the next time you tell a story about your daily life. Let me share something important with you. At the C1 and C2 level, your fluency depends on mastering the subtle difference between formal and informal registers. In casual conversation, you might say, "Can you help me out?" In a professional meeting, you might instead say, "Would you be able to assist me with this?" Both mean the same, but the second is more formal and polite. Let's practice this skill. Repeat after me the informal version first. Can you help me out? Now, the formal version. Would you be able to assist me with this? Good. Let's try another. Informal, want to grab lunch? Formal, would you like to join me for lunch? Excellent. One more. Informal, thanks a lot. Formal, I greatly appreciate your assistance. Perfect. Being able to shift between these registers shows advanced control of English. It means you're not just fluent, you're socially intelligent with your language. You know when to be casual and when to be formal. This awareness of context is what makes your English sound sophisticated and appropriate. Which phrase resonated with you the most? Let me know in the comments. Now let's talk about phrasal verbs and their formal equivalents. Phrasal verbs are common in spoken English, while their single-word equivalents are often used in academic or professional settings. A C1 or C2 learner can move comfortably between both. For example, instead of put off, you might use postpone. Instead of come up with, you might use devise or formulate. Instead of give up, you could use abandon or surrender. Instead of find out, you might say discover or ascertain. Let's practice both versions. Repeat after me. We had to put off the meeting. Now, the formal version. We had to postpone the meeting. Good. Let's try another. She came up with a new idea. Formal version. She devised a new idea. Excellent. One more. He gave up the fight. Formal version. He surrendered. Perfect. Notice how each version feels slightly different depending on context, but both are correct. That's the flexibility you want at an advanced level. You can choose the right form for the right situation. Now, let's practice storytelling with advanced connectors. Imagine you're describing a trip. At a basic level, you might say, I went to Paris. I saw the Eiffel Tower. I took photos. I ate food. At C1 or C2, you would say something like this. Listen and then repeat after me slowly. Last summer, I had the incredible opportunity to visit Paris. And needless to say, it was absolutely unforgettable. Not only did I see the iconic Eiffel Tower, but I also explored hidden streets and charming cafes tucked away from the tourist crowds. Moreover, I captured dozens of photographs to preserve those beautiful memories. And to top it all off, the food was absolutely exquisite. Each meal a delightful adventure for my taste buds. Do you hear the difference? The advanced version flows beautifully. It engages the listener. It paints a vivid picture. This is the storytelling skill you need at the advanced level. Now it's your turn. Think about a place you've visited or a trip you've taken. Tell that story using advanced connectors like not only, but also, moreover. Needless to say, to top it all off, take your time, speak clearly, and enjoy creating your story. Let's shift to another key element of C1 and C2, expressing cause and effect. Instead of always using because, you can use due to, owing to, as a result of, thanks to, on account of. Instead of only saying so, you can say therefore, thus, consequently, hence, accordingly. Let's practice. Repeat after me. Due to the heavy rain, the match was canceled. Good. Now try. Owing to his dedication, he succeeded in his exams. Excellent. One more. As a result of the delay, the meeting was postponed. Perfect. Now let's try the alternatives to so. The team worked hard. Therefore, they achieved success. Good. Now try. The evidence was clear. Thus, the case was closed. Excellent. One more. She didn't study. Consequently, she failed the exam. Perfect. These connectors will be especially useful in academic essays, professional reports, and formal presentations. They make your language sound structured, logical, and polished. Let me share a longer practice paragraph with you. This combines everything we've covered. Listen first, then repeat after me slowly. In the long run, learning English every day will bring you significantly closer to fluency. Owing to consistent practice, your confidence will steadily grow. and you'll find yourself speaking more naturally without hesitation. Moreover, as a result of applying advanced vocabulary and sophisticated structures, you will begin to sound remarkably precise and articulate. At the end of the day, language is fundamentally about connection, about expressing who you are and understanding others deeply. And needless to say, the more variety you have in your linguistic toolkit, the more powerfully you can connect with people from all walks of life. Therefore, never stop challenging yourself. Never stop pushing your boundaries, because every single word you learn, every phrase you master, builds another sturdy step toward complete mastery. Excellent work. That's advanced fluency in action. All right, quick check-in. How are you feeling? Are you practicing along? Are you speaking out loud? Remember, passive watching won't make you fluent. You need to actively participate. Speak, repeat. That's the only way to improve. Now, let's explore how to emphasize contrast in your speech. Native speakers do this naturally, and it makes conversations sound dynamic and engaging. Instead of simply saying but, you can use however, nevertheless, nonetheless, even so, having said that, that being said. Let's practice together. Repeat after me. I was tired. However, I kept working until midnight. Good. Now try. It was raining. Nevertheless, we went for a walk. Excellent. One more. She was nervous. Nonetheless, she delivered a great presentation. Perfect. Now try. The plan was risky. Even so, they decided to try it. Good. One more. I usually prefer tea. Having said that, I don't mind a cup of coffee sometimes. Beautiful. These words show that you can handle subtlety in communication. They're not only for writing, but also for speaking, and using them demonstrates that you have true command of the language. Another area where C1 and C2 learners excel is expressing probability and possibility with nuance. Instead of always saying maybe, you could say it's likely, it's probable, there's a good chance, there's every likelihood, it's doubtful, it's highly unlikely. Let's practice. Repeat after me. It's likely that he'll arrive late. Good. Now try. There's a good chance she'll win the competition. Excellent. One more. It's doubtful that they'll finish on time. Perfect. Now try. It's highly unlikely that the store will be open now. Good. One more. There's every likelihood that it will rain tomorrow. Beautiful. Using these expressions shows degrees of certainty, which is important for academic, professional, and everyday conversation. Imagine you're predicting tomorrow's weather. Instead of saying, maybe it will rain, you could say, it's quite likely to rain tomorrow based on the forecast. This change immediately makes your English sound more advanced and confident. Let's talk about showing cause and purpose with advanced structures. Instead of always using so that, try in order to, with the aim of, for the purpose of, so as to, with a view to. Let's practice. Repeat after me slowly. I studied hard in order to pass the exam. Good. Now try. She joined the club with the aim of meeting new people. Excellent. One more. They organized the event for the purpose of raising funds. Perfect. Now try. He spoke slowly so as to be understood clearly. Good. One more. She saved money with a view to buying a new car. Beautiful. These alternatives give you more options to express intention or reason in your daily speech and writing. They make your sentences longer, richer, and more natural at the advanced level. Now let's practice synonyms with slight differences in tone. Take the word important. Instead of always saying important, you can say crucial, essential, vital, significant, fundamental, paramount. Each of these adds precision to your speech. Let's practice them together. Repeat after me. It is crucial to arrive on time. Good. Now try, exercise is essential for good health. Excellent. One more. Water is vital for survival. Perfect. Now try, education plays a significant role in society. Good. One more. Honesty is a fundamental value. Beautiful. With these synonyms, you now have multiple ways to avoid repetition and sound advanced. Practice using different synonyms throughout your day, and soon they'll become automatic. Tell me in the comments, which advanced word did you learn today that you'll start using right away? At C1 and C2, your ability to describe subtle feelings and emotions also becomes important. Instead of saying, I'm happy, you can say, I'm content, I'm pleased, I'm cheerful, I'm delighted, I'm thrilled, I'm elated, I'm overjoyed. Instead of I'm sad, you might say, I'm upset. I'm downhearted, I'm sorrowful, I'm melancholic, I'm devastated. Let's practice these together. Repeat after me. I'm content with my progress. Good. Now try. I'm cheerful today. Excellent. One more. I'm delighted to see you again. Perfect. Now try. I'm thrilled about the news. Good. Now let's practice sadness. I'm upset about the result. Good. Now try. I'm devastated after hearing what happened. Excellent. These words give your speech emotional color, which is exactly what advanced English requires. Think about your own life and choose one advanced emotional word to describe how you feel today. This kind of personalization helps vocabulary stay in your memory. Now, let's practice advanced storytelling with comparisons and contrasts. At a basic level, you might say, my town is big. At C1 or C2, you could say, compared to nearby towns, my city is significantly larger and far more vibrant, although it can sometimes feel somewhat overcrowded during peak hours. Notice how the advanced sentence not only describes, but also compares, contrasts, and adds detail. Repeat this after me slowly. Compared to nearby towns, my city is significantly larger and far more vibrant, although it can sometimes feel somewhat overcrowded during peak hours. Excellent! Now, take a simple sentence from your own life and expand it with a comparison or contrast. That's how you build advanced fluency step by step. Let's explore degrees of opinion. At a basic level, learners often say, "I agree" or "I don't agree." At C1 or C2, you can say, "I agree to a certain extent." "I agree up to a point." "I generally agree." "I partially agree." "I strongly disagree." "I absolutely support that idea." Let's practice together. Repeat after me. I agree to a certain extent. Good. Now try. I generally agree, though I have some reservations. Excellent. One more. I strongly disagree with that approach. Perfect. Now try. I absolutely support that idea. Beautiful. These expressions show that you can handle complexity in discussions rather than just giving yes or no answers. Imagine you're in a classroom or a professional meeting. Using these expressions will make your English sound significantly more advanced and more confident. Let me share one final comprehensive practice paragraph that brings together everything we've learned today. Listen carefully, then repeat after me slowly, taking your time with each sentence. In my view, developing advanced vocabulary and sophisticated structures is absolutely crucial for reaching C1 and C2 fluency. Compared to beginners, advanced learners possess the remarkable ability to express subtle emotions, complex opinions, and richly detailed stories with ease and confidence. Nevertheless, this transformation doesn't happen overnight. It requires unwavering dedication, consistent practice, and genuine patience with yourself. As far as I'm concerned, the most effective way to achieve this level is by using new words and phrases daily in order to make them an integral part of your natural speech. At the end of the day, fluency is not merely about grammatical accuracy or memorizing endless vocabulary lists. It's fundamentally about flexibility, authenticity, and the confidence to express yourself clearly in any situation. Therefore, keep practicing with passion. Keep challenging yourself to use more sophisticated language, and keep believing in your ability to succeed. Every single step you take, no matter how small it seems, brings you significantly closer to your goal of true mastery. Wonderful. This is exactly how your English will grow stronger day by day, week by week, month by month. Before we finish, I want to remind you of something deeply important. You are capable of reaching advanced fluency. You already understand so much. You already have a strong foundation. Now it's just about expanding, enriching, and practicing consistently. Don't compare yourself to others. Don't feel discouraged if progress seems slow. Every advanced speaker you admire started exactly where you are now. The difference is, they didn't give up. They kept practicing. They kept pushing themselves. They kept believing. And that's what I want you to do. Believe in yourself. Practice every single day. Even if it's just for 10 minutes. Use the phrases we practiced today in your real conversations. Challenge yourself to replace simple words with advanced alternatives. Tell stories with vivid details. Express your opinions with sophisticated structures. And most importantly, enjoy the journey. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. I genuinely hope you practiced along, repeated the examples, and felt your English stretch into new areas of fluency. If you enjoyed this lesson and found it helpful, please subscribe to Easy English with Sage and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our daily practice sessions. Your support means everything to me, and together, we'll keep building your confidence until advanced English feels completely natural to you. So keep practicing, keep believing in yourself, keep pushing your boundaries, and remember, every single word you learn, every phrase you master, every sentence you speak brings you one powerful step closer to complete mastery. Take care, stay motivated, stay passionate about your learning, and I'll see you tomorrow in our next practice session. Until then, keep speaking, keep growing, and keep shining. Goodbye, my friend.